Good morning. It is 7:15 and this day has been the hardest to get moving since I've been on trail. And it's not so much because yesterday I pushed really hard. That's a little bit of a factor, but I'm going to show you what it looks like outside. I'm doing this in the tent because it's so freaking windy too. So it's cloudy, it's foggy, and it's windy. And I'll take any one of those, but not all at the same time. And so I just wanted to stay in my quilt this morning. But I got my shoes on, which means I'm gonna be hiking. So I'm gonna get this day moving. Okay, I'm all packed up, but it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I think this is the latest start that I've gotten that I can remember, at least in a long time. So I'm gonna get moving. Wish me luck. I've only been climbing for a few minutes, but there's camp from another perspective, just behind those first set of pine trees. You can kind of make out the flat spots there. That's kind of where we were at. Okay, I have reached the top. I took off my pack to stretch, and I really wanted to share this. This is what I've been thinking about for the last, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes. So you get these gusts, and I'm damp. Everything I have is damp. My pack, my poles, myself. But I'm hot as well. So I'm hot and cold at the same time. I'm tired and everything else. So there's some hikers coming. Sorry, I cut myself off because hikers were there, and I've been around a lot of hikers for a while now. I'm kind of in a bubble, and you keep meeting these different personalities, and this one just doesn't agree with me anyways. Like, they were basically sitting there like pretending to do something else, but it seemed like they were waiting for me to talk again, so I left. But yeah, now the trees are dripping on me too. It's not raining, it's just all the moisture that's built up all night long. And that was the same with all my equipment. I'll be having to dry everything out. I'm really hoping this breaks at some point. I was actually hoping that at the summit there I'd get above the clouds. Didn't happen. And I don't know if in my entire life I've ever seen high winds and cloud so thick at the same time. Like, usually it becomes wispy and kind of blows in and out, but this stuff is solid. This is probably 15 minutes later from when I was talking to you guys on the summit, and like, you can see the fog through all this brush that I'm going through. Oh, and just as an added bonus, there's a lot of poison oak in this area too. So you're walking along and you see like the leaves of 3 and you stop and freak out and, oh my god, am I gonna brush that? And then you realize it's not. But anyways, yeah, you see, this is the problem with hiking, is all that happens is you just keep recycling thoughts through your brain and thinking of like all this what if stuff. So yeah, like this happens to me quite a bit. I stop and look and like, is that poison oak? I think it might have been, but so don't touch. Anyways, yeah, talking about just the different feelings. It's really weird to be hot and cold at the same time, sweaty and damp at the same time. So the other thing I wanted to mention was, yesterday was my biggest day, and I felt it last night. Usually, because of my swollen feet, I've talked about that I have like an anti-inflammatory that I take. Oh, this time I took like the Aleve, all in one, a painkiller too, just because that my legs felt it yesterday. So, immediate up right away this morning, I was a little worried about it, like how was that gonna do? But I've really found that if I just modulate my pace and pay attention to like any twinges or anything and kind of baby it a little bit, that's working for me. And I know that seems like a simple concept, but I think what I was doing earlier in the hike was I'd get a twinge and I'd be like, oh, I got to build that up, so I'd go harder on it. Probably not the best idea, but the mindset is get strong, stay strong, versus you got a little tweak here, kind of take care of it, and then it'll recover. And that philosophy, the second one, really has worked for me today. I had just weird different twinges that aren't normal for me. Paid attention to it. I actually stopped and stretched out at the top. That's kind of what I was alluding to. Yeah, and it's going good. I'm actually feeling good right now. As you can tell, I'm kind of on a downhill pace, which is why I can walk so much faster. But yeah, good day. If I would, here, in a perfect scenario, this is what I would like. The clouds to disappear, or at least get higher, so I'm not walking in them, and the wind to drop down to a gentle breeze. That is ideal hiking weather. But if I'm going to take either this or the heat of where I'm normally, like what it normally is here, 80s and 90s, I will take this every single time. But I gotta admit, it was so hard getting going this morning. I actually woke up at 5:30. Like I told myself I was gonna sleep in, and I did. Woke up at 5:30, went out, went to the bathroom, crawled back into bed, and went back to sleep, and I was perfectly fine doing that. So I feel better. Not every day is gonna be getting up at 4:30 or 4 and starting to hike. It's not going to be fun if I try and do that every day. And I'm still trying to remember that I'm doing this for fun. So there you go. You get a lot of my morning ramblings, my morning thoughts today. I don't do this very often, but maybe some of it's interesting. You know how you wake up in the morning and you have a list of things to do, so you start working on it, and then the afternoon shows up and you only have a few things left. That's how I feel. So I hike down to that highway and then see the crisscrossing line back up into the clouds. Yeah, that's my afternoon. Good morning. Okay, it's 10:45. I actually thought it was later than that. Found a park bench to have my snacks on. I'm excited about that. So I'm going to relax for a little bit because I have a 3.5 mile, 1,500 foot climb next. And then we'll go from there. So good morning. It's been a really good morning so far. Did that first climb and I felt pretty good after it. My feet are starting to get tired, mostly because it was a long downhill after that climb. And so this incline is going to be a little tough, I think, but it's cool. The wind's still blowing. Looks like I will climb into clouds. At least the top is covered right now. But I've got plenty of water. There's plenty of water along the route. And I'm just going to take my time with it and just kind of try to enjoy it a little bit. And it kind of changes the muscles that you're using. So I'm really not like hating on it right now. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't say looking forward to it, but I'm not dreading it either. So that's kind of nice. That sounds kind of steep, 1,500 feet of elevation and that low of mileage, but it is what it is. I'll just take my time. I'm not sure I said it. So I'm at the road. It's behind me. I haven't crossed it yet. It is Lake Hughes Road. So I'll be crossing that now, and then I'll give an update. So basically, I think when I climb back up, I might be able to see down into the Lancaster Valley, the Antelope Valley. But I'll let you guys know. Okay, day 37 is in the books. Not a whole bunch of video because the wind and it was cloudy all day. It just started breaking about an hour and a half ago. So, but I'm really happy with my camp spot. So the trail is right up there. can't quite see it, but follow the trail up, and that's where it's at. They're only about 30 feet above my camp spot, but I'm very happy with it because I'm in a bunch of oak trees. I haven't seen any poison oak around, and there's technically maybe 3 spots. The one I'm in, the one I'm walking on, and then one down there, which somebody could make into, especially if they're a single. But I've got the prime spot. I did 15.8 miles today. I'm at mile 494. So I am about 25 miles from Hikertown. So I have a general idea of what I want to do for the next several days. But this push, you can consider this push me going pretty much to Tehachapi. So I'm going to be, my plan right now is to be in and out of Hikertown pretty quickly. And I'll explain more the closer that we get there. But I'm all set up. The other super cool thing about this particular site is I've got 2 bars. So I'll be able to talk to Kathy, which I wasn't able to yesterday, and get caught up on what's going on. And then we can make plans together as well. So wrapping up day 37. Good day, 15.8 miles. I had a really hard time getting out of bed this morning. I think I talked about that. But I got going, 2 very big climbs, and then I basically don't think I filmed anything after the beginning of the second climb. So once I got to the top, the wind was just gale force. I mean, I've never hiked in wind that strong. It was actually pushing me because of my pack. Like, it was grabbing my pack and pushing me sideways. And then I had to ridge walk for about 2 miles. The trail goes about 2 miles, kind of from south to north along a ridge line. And at one point, the wind was actually strong enough, like when I swung my pole to plant it in front of me, it would swing to the right. Like, the wind was actually strong enough to push a pole, which I thought was pretty incredible. It took a lot out of me, and I saw a lot of people resting, especially some faster hikers that I normally don't see throughout the day. At one point, there was, like, those little arroyos that we come to, kind of like the bend in the trail. They're little, like, slot canyons or whatever. But there was me, and then I got going again. There was another couple, and then I got going to the third one, and there was another group of 3. So just the wind takes a lot out of you. So I'm glad that I was planning on a 15-mile day, and that was by design. The other issue was there was this camp spot isn't actually known. It's kind of like a comment instead of like a known campsite. But the next real campsite that I would have wanted to go to is another like 9 miles. And I got such a late start today. I didn't start walking until after 8. So I'm perfectly happy with this. And the other really nice thing is there's nobody around. And it's been a couple of nights since I haven't had a bunch of hikers around me. So I'm definitely in a bubble. But I wish everybody a good night, and I will talk to you in the morning.